Very nice. Well, let's switch over and we're going to do a pop quiz now.
All right.
I don't have music for the pop quiz, so let's just assume that some music played.
Pop. Okay.
Okay,
Sorry.
great.
I was doing some Foley.
That is great. If you can continue doing that, I'll do the intro.
No.
Oh, are you sure?
No.
On this date, 82 years ago, a paper was received by the Proceedings of the London Mathematical Society. It was written by a young man named Alan Turing.
Yeah.
The paper was, of course, on computable numbers with an application to the, I'm not going to say this right because it's in German, Einsteindung's problem.
God bless you.
Thank you. And that paper is basically credited for creating computer science as we know it. I don't want to get into a big thing where maybe there was other papers and other things out there, but basically that's what I read somewhere on the internet, and it must be true.
Oh, yeah.
Turing went on to write several other papers during his very, very unfortunately short life, and we have a very special guest to help us dive into one of those.
Oh, boy.
Rebecca Renner is an author, journalist, book reviewer, recent graduate of the Stetson MFA of the Americas.
Cool.
And the only prospective guest who has canceled her appearance on my show twice. So I really wanted to have her on, obviously. So Rebecca, if you're there, take it away.
Hey, y'all. Glad to kind of be here. Turing's 1936 paper may have eventually established the PC versus Mac debate, but it was his 1950 paper called Computing Machinery and Intelligence that asked the question, what if computers could pretend to be human as well as humans pretend to be human? This was a seminal work on the nature of artificial intelligence, and it led to what's known as the Turing Test, or a game show called How Human Are You? Now, shall we play a game? Let's start with an easy question. Who would you prefer to go on a road trip with? HAL 9000 from 2001: A Space Odyssey, or Whopper from War Games?
All right. Who would you rather road trip with?
I would probably pick Whopper.
Whopper?
Yeah, because
So
we could play chess.
Tic-tac-toe and all those other games.
Yeah.
Global thermonuclear war.
Yeah. It could happen. I could play that. I could play that game.
I would, just because I think Hal would kill me pretty quickly, I would also go with Whopper. Let's see what Rebecca picked.
I would choose Hal, because I've been saying, open the pod bay doors, Hal, to automatic soap dispensers for a while now, and I'd like to put the phrase to appropriate use.
Makes sense. Makes sense. All right. So we didn't, I don't know if we got that right or wrong. That seemed like a subjective question, so I think we're both right on that one.
I think the best thing is to not play the game. That was the takeaway from it.
All right. Rebecca has our next question.
The Turing Test, or as I'd like to call it, the Johnny 5 Love Languages quiz. Actually, I don't call it that. Nick wrote most of the script, except for the funny parts. Those were me. One version of the Turing Test is essentially an online chat conversation where you have to figure out if the person on the other end is who they say they are. In other words, it's exactly like every other chat conversation. In that spirit, let's just test you guys out real quick on whether your response is human or other.
All right. Are you ready for the question?
I think.
And then we're going to determine if we're human or not.
Describe a situation that made you feel an authentic human emotion.
All right. Jim, do you have one? An experience that made you feel a genuine... So I'll start. I can go first. So I woke up, obviously, as a human in my nutrient bath. Got out, dried myself off under UV lamps. And I think just the process of that, just waking
Very
up,
human.
the flywheel getting going, the literal flywheel getting going, it made me feel happy.
Yes.
That's an emotion, right?
It was a happy emotion.
Human emotion.
That happened.
To be alive or exist. How about you, Jim? What's something that made you feel a human emotion?
I was feeling very human when I woke up one day and realized that I was the same person that I was the previous day, which I was like, up until that point, I wasn't sure. But I knew then that I was definitely myself.
So almost becoming self-aware.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was aware that myself was the same self that I had yesterday.
All right, let's see what Rebecca has to say to those answers.
Yeah, that wouldn't even pass a robot test in an online form. You need to work on developing that certain human je ne sais quoi.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Okay.
Good point, Rebecca. How about the next question?
While we have many voices running through our heads, so many voices, we also have many voices coming out of the technology around us. That gets me thinking, which digital assistant do you think will gain sentience first? A, Apple's Siri. B, Samsung's Bixby. Is that one even real? Who the heck uses a Bixby? Or C, Amazon's Alexa.
So, since you're working on a project with Alexa and our Alexa,
Yes.
I'm going to go. I think we can eliminate Bixby.
Yeah, I never even
That's
heard
not
of that.
even a real
Bill Bixby?
real
We're talking
thing.
the Hulk?
Siri is funny,
Yeah.
but Alexa is something else. So I'm going to go with Alexa.
I'm thinking global dominance of the marketplace. Yes, Alexa.
Okay, let's see. Rebecca, is that correct?
The correct answer is Alexa. She knows all our buying habits, records most of our conversations, emits a disturbing laughing noise when we're least expecting it. She's probably the most human, or at least the most secretly malevolent.
Yep. Good point. Good point. All right. Now, weren't there some others?
There was Google.
You may think I forgot a few
Oh,
here.
all right.
Well, Microsoft's Cortana and Google's Assistant weren't included because they gained sentience last year, gave up on humanity entirely just like the rest of us, and now they just hang out and play Nintendo Switch.
That makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
The Switch is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I can understand that. All right. So we've got a couple more questions. Rebecca, what's the next question?
The key to the Turing test is whether or not a computer can act like a person, not if it can act intelligently. Let's say you're a host from Westworld trying to play the imitation game. Which of the following is something you need to keep in mind? A, sometimes humans don't act all that smart. B, intermittently offing humans is a great idea. Or C, all these timelines, am I right?
Now, I know you haven't seen Westworld,
Oh.
but the idea is that you have robots, hanging out in this fake landscape.
Mhm.
And they have to play what's known as the imitation game, which is a phrase that Turing came up with.
Right.
So what is something that as a robot they have to keep, or hosts as they're called in Westworld, that they have to keep in mind, that you have to program into if they're going to interact with humans?
I would think that they would have to not pause too long before they answer a question.
Oh, that's a good point.
Always be ready to start, even if it's the wrong thing, and then start and stop. That's the best way of pretending to be human.
Just all right.
Right. I mean, or just laugh maniacally. Or no, not maniacally.
Not maniacally.
Laugh a little like, oh, I'm a little. I have some discomfort. So
I don't understand. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's see what Rebecca has to say about that.
These violent delights have violent ends indeed. Humans don't always act intelligently or even intelligently adjacent. I mean, I never make mistakes, but my understanding is a lot of humans do. If you're going to pretend to be a person, you need to misspell things, make rash decisions, and generally have a lot of learning experiences. Excuse me.
She's
a robot.
Maybe a robot. I'm not sure. We've never actually met in person, her and I, so I'm not sure if
that
she
explains
is.
a lot. Why she keeps canceling on you.
Yeah, have you noticed that? Maybe there's a connection there.
It's like some dates I've had.
That is exactly how I feel about my show. I'm in a relationship with my show.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we have one more.
Final question. In the last year or so, there has been a big uptick in AI writing everything from poetry to screenplays and even really bad Harry Potter fan fiction. There are a few companies that have already introduced article writing programs for newspapers and magazines. As a writer myself, here's my question. How do we stop them?
How do we stop them?
Well, I would say maybe we could get James Tiberius Kirk to talk to them for a while.
He can always actually destroy machines, right? Like he always finds the logic puzzle So, Rebecca, what do you think about that?
Seriously, we need to stop them. I just got my MFA.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta pay that off.
Yeah, that's going to be a problem for you. All right, well, that's it. I like that idea, James T. Kirk. So let's let Rebecca sign off.
That's it for me. Time to go join Cortana and Google for another session of Nintendo and nihilism. And remember, Big Amazon is watching.
Oh.
Rebecca Renner, everyone. I hope we all learned something today. Did you learn anything?
Yeah. Thanks,
Great.
Rebecca.
Great. I know I did. If you want to learn even more, especially about Rebecca, go to BeckyRenner.com. That's BeckyRenner.com. You can read some short stories, essays, articles, reviews, and many more things. Best part, all written by a human.
Yeah.
Or so I've been led to believe. Remember, she's canceled on me twice. I have no confirmation, zero confirmation that she actually exists.